It's the Morning Pittsburgh Sports Report at TribLive.com. Steelers season is underway. Guy Junker. Eagles were the opponent at Lincoln Financial Field on Thursday night. First impressions?
Well, I think one of the things, you want to get through a preseason game without any major injuries. Losing David Johnson, to me, makes this game somewhat of a disaster. And
was it a major? Would you call that major?
Well, they're wondering if it's major. I mean, it looks like it is.
I mean more from, is David Johnson a major piece of the team? I guess he was, based on how often he was in there early.
I think it's pretty big, but he's having a good camp to this point, too. Yeah. And you're not sure about Mike Adams and those other guys. We'll have to wait and see. But there were guys getting banged up. Losing the game doesn't matter to me. Yeah. Some of the same problems existed. It's so hard to figure out, who's in there for you, who's in there for the Eagles, and to make a real judgment on it. But two chances, one of the things that Todd Haley stressed he wanted to do, Ken, was run the ball when the other team knew he wanted to run the ball. And they weren't able to do that 2 times in the red zone. One time they wound up with a touchdown, but they had to throw for it because they couldn't run it in. And the other time they wound up with a field goal, which if this were a regular season game, in essence would have cost them the game. So, they had the ball for 12 and a half minutes of the first quarter. That seems like it's dominating, but it produced a field goal in 60 yards. It was a lot of possession time, but, so, I mean, look, it's one preseason game. The biggest thing for me is I hope none of these injuries turn out to be too devastating.
You're always looking for a first look at the new rookies. 2 offensive linemen, Sean Spence at linebacker, and obviously Chris Rainey, the big bright spot of the day, I would say, to focus on Rainey for a moment. Not just the 57-yard screen pass touchdown, but he just looked like he was pretty comfortable. Like Starling Marte has come up for the Pirates and blended in right away. They're using him with the first-team offense right out of the gates, a whole quarter. Pretty clear Chris Rainey has not only made the team, but is going to be a major story for 2012.
You would think, and I think when you're that fast, you can feel pretty comfortable. I mean, you wonder about size. He did get horse-collared one time and was a little slow to get up. Is that part of the reason why he lasted as long? I mean, I heard Bob Pompiani and Edmund Nelson talking about that on a broadcast. How does that guy last as long as he did in the draft? And I guess it is a size thing. I thought the Castro looked pretty good. I think it was Dwyer's big run that he kind of sprung him on and did a nice job. Adams got beaten a couple of times pass blocking. But I'll tell you what, I was impressed with him before he got hurt. When he got beaten, one time the ball got knocked out of, I guess Leftwich was in at that point. The other time a fumble. Both times he found the football and jumped on it. So
that's not what you want to see from your tackle, is him surrounded by 3 defenders, though, with the football in his hand. That's generally not a good sign from the big guy. There's a reason he was scrambling for the ball. He knew he must have screwed up. But I agree with you. He's so big and massive in the run game. He's working material. I mean, we got a month now till the first preseason game, so he's got time. But when he faces Elvis Dumerville and Von Miller and speed rushers, is that the guy you really want to put out there against the Denver Broncos, or is Max Starks really going to be the left tackle, provided he's healthy enough to go?
And let's face it, late in the game, you've got your second, third, fourth team defense out there, and Trent Edwards is in there throwing the football. So the Eagles had an advantage there, and they did a good job to force a 51-yard field goal at the end. It was, I think, very typical of a first preseason game, and that there were highs, there were lows. Some of the young guys looked good, some didn't.
Eagles fans arrested in the stadium, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's right. But as I said, the one thing you don't want is to lose people that you think are going to be big parts of the team, and by all accounts, it looks like, David Johnson's knees. Bad,
and that means next Johnson up. Will Johnson will be the man, and maybe they have to scour the waiver wire for the old fullback crop. At least they're not used so much. There probably should be a few out there. A week and a couple days until their next game against the Buffalo Bills on the road. Indianapolis Colts, week 2 at home. And then
they go to Buffalo
the week after. So preseason has just begun. Guy Junker, Ken Laird, Trib Live Radio, and TribLive.com, our morning Pittsburgh Sports Report.